Hello, everyone. Welcome to the, the Human Performance Lab. Hope everybody is having a great day today. I apologize for my earlier issues this morning for the technology stuff. We hopefully have those all worked out and we should be good to go now. So we will see what happens in the context of how the day transpires. I know that chat and everything was working fine before. I'm going to kind of watch this a little bit. Of course, this is FOMC, right? I was short way before then. I was doing other things, so I didn't get out of the position. I am Sim, and I'm just like kind of in the grand scheme of things, a little bit of whatever. So hold that with a grain of salt. Let me see here. Is there... I don't see anything popping up in TikTok or anything else yet. Let me... I hope I'm live. It is my hope. Oh, good. I am on live now. Okay, good. We're just going to go ahead and continue live and should be good to go. Okay. Well, in this position here, I do need to get out of it if I am going to go to replay, because it is no longer something that I'm able to hold on to. And the reason for the short was breaking back down below initial balance, coming off the highs of initial balance, right? And then really coming back down below, or the possibility of it coming back down below value area high. Value area high being $88.25, and we came down well below that, pull back into this area here, and then continue lower. James, welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. Appreciate you. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and get out of this position. Like I said, this was just for this down. I actually had forgotten that 2 o'clock was FOMC. It is in Sim. I'm not too worried about it. I wanted to pretty much just kind of just show this into the Discord channel, was the whole reason of being involved in this particular position. So we're going to go ahead and cancel, close, and now I am going to get into a replay. Hold 1 second, please. Okay. Let's see here. The day we're going to replay is yesterday, and we're going to get into the whole process. Get into the whole process from start to finish. How I build my plan, then how I'm going to execute around said plan. And yesterday is the 7th. So we're going to... I'm also doing the micro, and the reason why we're doing the micro is because it's going to be easier to manage the risk in a prop account. Sorry, I'm trying to do things and talk at the same time, and sometimes my little brain just doesn't work that well. User 62677, welcome. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Hope you are having an amazing day. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Questions, comments, concerns are always welcome. And I do read TikTok chat too, so it's all up here. Something that I'm able to do. If you come over to the Purple app or Tube, that will be available for the bigger screen. You'll be able to see all the charts. It is difficult to bring everything over to the TikTok chat at times, especially in the wider markets. You, welcome. Thank you for joining. All right, so are we in the right day? Yes, we are. June 7th. Perfect. So this is what I do in starting my day. The first thing I'm going to do is this is a profile, right? These are all volume profiles, and they're daily volume profiles, except for this one here. It's grouped. And the reason why I'm grouping this profile is as of roughly June 2nd, we stopped this trending market that we have been in, and we've been in a ranged market since then. So we've been just trading in balance, right? So we're not in a downtrend. We're not in anything else. We're just trading in balance. So what I want to do is take this chart here. I'm going to incorporate or add group the next day into this profile because we don't need it. And it's just going to merge directly into here. And then this day here, we also do not need that as well. That was the previous day. So we're going to merge that in too. And now we're going to take our areas of overall value within this area. So the first thing I want to index is, and where'd my chart go? This is why it's difficult to do this on multiple streams, but we will get there. All right, so the first thing we want to do is index this low right here, and that low is indexing Ken, welcome, is indexing a low volume node in overall value. Okay, price action is currently trading within that node, and we have unfair lows in this profile. Right here, and we're going to index those as well. And then if you look here, right, we have the previous day unfair lows, which is an area we'd be looking long. And then we have this area of value. And right here we have unfair highs, which would be looking short, and unfair lows where we're looking long. This is an area that I want to mark, and I'm going to turn this red. And the reason why I'm making it red is not to say I want to go short from that area. This is an area that I'm just not that interested in trading around if we get up here. Why? Because unfair highs of a prior area is telling us that we are looking for short positions, and then unfair lows in that area is looking for short positions. Now, in this context of this here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but we do have higher volume starting to distribute. So I would anticipate price action to possibly come up and test that area within the next few days, today, tomorrow, whatever it might be. But I would anticipate 767 to be tested because of the high volume in this area. But that's just an area I just do not want to do business in because, well, it telling us long and short in the same area. So price action is opening down here in a small gap, and we have that area here that we're not interested in, right? And then we have the overall Asia session here for unfair lows up to here, and that's the area that we don't want to really be doing business in. And then this is the other area that we indexed as well. So these are the areas that we'd be looking for potential shorts in the market, and then of course possible longs. Now we have those also marked here in this time frame. And we should be able to see those. Well, I didn't bring those over for everybody to see in TikTok. I do apologize. So those are areas from the longer term. We're already trading in one, right? And then this is yesterday's profile over here. Yesterday's profile was pretty much a bell curve, higher volume around the high. We came down, tested, came up, just kind of a ranged day. And we're anticipating price action to possibly come up here into this area, maybe even to fill the gap. And then anything below we can be looking at for potential shorts from the 30-minute higher time frame. Hey Ram, how's it going? It's good to see you. How you doing today? Everything good? Life is good? All right. Now, what we have here is longer time frame. I'm trying to see. Let's see here, 800. Oh geez, 800 is way up there. And then we have 29,600, which is right in here, which I guess is this area here. Is that what we're indexing here? Let me just check something real quick. I just want to check. All right. And then I want to get and make sure that I don't want, yeah, we are going to take it from the profile chart. So yeah, everything is fine. It's showing up there. Interesting. All right. Well, what we're going to do now is take this 30-minute chart and I want to bring it back and I want to take a look at this whole area. I want a volume profile on this particular day drawn from, I want a custom profile. There we go. Ah, there they are. That makes perfect sense. All right, let's get rid of all this stuff. I'd shut the my drawing tools off because I tend to draw on the charts for room participants and those type of things. All right, there we go. So everything is taken off of here. We have this overall area of value. Here. Doing good. Hope you doing good. Hope you had a great day so far. Lost 1,000 on one account due to silly mistake and making order, and made 1,500 on another account. Well done. Well done. You know, I mean, don't beat yourself up for mistakes like that, right? They're going to happen. You know, practice. Just practice your dome, practice your order entries, right? We can never have too much practice. Okay. So just going through, practice that, and you're gonna be fine. Well done on your trading today though. That one that you had for your expense on the just order entry, would that turned into a revenue position as well? Just curious. And then here we can index our unfair lows in this area, and we can index our unfair highs in this area up here. And those are pretty much our areas that we would like to do business in terms of day trading. And then we can scalp positions in between here, especially if we get initial balance or anything like that forming throughout the day. On that note, we are going to go ahead and hit the play button. We have our areas and we are going to move into execution. Does anybody have any questions on how I'm building my plans and what it is that I am looking at and what it is that I am doing? I know I kind of went through there a little bit fast without a lot of explanation. I'm just not getting a lot of questions. I do have a lot of trading videos out there, different things along those lines. So if you have questions about volume profiling, anything along those lines, please absolutely let me know. And one thing I do want to highlight in this account here is in this chart. Geez, I'm tired today. Bear with me. We have this red area, and this is that red area I was talking about where I really don't want to do a lot of business in here. However, what we can do though, and what we kind of fun and interesting is when it comes up into this area, rejects, even trades through, comes back into, or does something like this, we can go ahead and look for entries to the long side here for scalps, and entries down here for our shorts, okay? And then, of course, trading around this area down here, right? We're looking for day trades. We're going to look at getting heavy in these areas with size. And then if we come up here, come up, down through, down, and then possibly even into here and different areas depending on what happens in order flow, right? Because we have low volume in here. So we're anticipating to see rejection from this area. That's the whole point of low volume. Low volume, what happens? Price hasn't traded around that area much. And so we're not anticipating price to really trade in that area itself again. Therefore, we're looking for rejection around those areas. Let's see here. During New York Open session, gotcha. Yeah, New York Open today was kind of interesting, actually. You know, just the fact that we had the news coming out regarding Iran and the, I don't want to say war starting over again, but definitely tensions escalating, right? And then we had the news coming out with Spain on where the US has pulled all trade from Spain due to NATO and expenses, and of course the Spanish view on the whole Iranian thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes out. Now we have initial balance. My initial balance is only for the first 15 minutes. A lot of people use 30, a lot of people use 60. It's fine. Use whatever you want to. I really just kind of want to get a context of the first 15-minute range. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens there. And by the way, just out of curiosity, Ram, are you seeing the chat come up on the OBS at all when you're typing in, or is that not coming up at all? I might need to be in. Let me see. I might need to be in here for that to happen. Make sure I didn't mess anything up there. You see only yourself in the chat? Okay, is it coming up here in like in this area? Oh, you know what? It's not going to. Hold on. Because it should be over here. It should be coming up right here in this area. Let me know if you see anything coming up in this area for the chat, and we'll see what happens there. All right, so price action is just absolutely moved higher. You don't see it on my screen? Okay. Well, I had that fixed and now it's not working again. So I'm not exactly quite sure what is going on with that. Interesting. Well, that's no fun. Like I said, I had it fixed. I'll work on that later. All right, so we have our order flow here, and price action just opened, and we got a wide range bar, I mean, what else is new at the US Open, right? So we're just going to kind of just hang out, wait for about the first 15 minutes. Unless I get something setting up in one of my areas here, and I can look for position a little bit earlier than at 9:15. And then from there, we'll just go ahead and move into the rest of the session. And again, if there's any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. We're coming back down here into one of our buy areas. And what we're looking for in terms of a continuation play to the upside. I might need to do this every time. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have to do that, but who knows? It might have to be done. We'll see. Because it's coming up in here on Stream Elements. So I'm not quite sure why it's not coming up on my screen in here. Whatever. We need to trade. We need to practice. So let's focus on the task at hand instead of trying to come in to that right now. So price action still coming down a little bit lower. Is it funny that I don't even remember what happened yesterday? Like I literally cannot recall what yesterday was in the context of trading and what I did. So this is like trading all new for me today, which is good, right? I don't have a bias. I don't have anything else, but I literally do not remember what happened yesterday in trading. My days are kind of running into one another right now. Going to index this area here. This is an area that has some importance to me. I want to see how price behaves in this area. So what I'm looking at is sellers are getting aggressive, of course, off the highs, right? And you look over here, you got about 488, 582, 470, 580 sellers, right? And then there's a lot less sellers here in this area. That means that it's taken less sellers to push down below this low. And then we start getting a little bit more aggressive in the sellers in here, right, in the higher volume area. And now we're pressing down and coming into this low. So I want to see what happens when we move back into the high volume. I want to see if sellers reject this area or buyers start accepting some of the higher prices. That's what I'm thinking in this term, right, of what's going on in this area. That's why I highlighted it. Because if you're looking at an auction, okay, everything is about an auction. The whole market is an auction. It takes participants, buyers and sellers being in the market, right? Is if you don't have buyers and sellers in the market, what do you have? You really don't have much of anything because price action is not going to go anywhere because you have no participants. So to be an auction, you have to have participants. Well, what are the participants doing? That's what we need to be aware of. That's why I use footprints, because footprints give me the ability to see at the bid and the offer, the bid and the ask, right? What are the participants doing in the market right now? And right now we're seeing buyers trying to push back above this area. But if you look, we have 423, right? 477. We've got less buyers in here. So I really kind of want to see what happens at this high. Now we go ahead and take out the high. We have buyers in here. I'm anticipating price action to come back down into this area. And if it does, I'm going to be willing to buy in this area We're going to get one off there. We can get another one in that same area, and now we have 3. We have 3 on. I want to take 1 off here in this higher volume, anticipating that we're going to come back into this higher volume. So I want to take some risk off in the position in case we do. And then I'm going to take another one off of here just below that. And then I just sold one instead of hit limit. That was dumb. That was a complete mistake there, but that's okay. We're going to try to get one back on if it gives it to us, which hopefully it does. There it is. Good. Now we have our 3 back on. And then we're going to kind of hold the 3. All right. Now, what is the risk to the position? Of course, if it comes back down and takes us out, right? So we can turn around and say, okay, we have a 304. We have a 498. I really don't want to take more than about a $500 risk in my first trade in the first portion of the day, because we haven't built up a bankroll yet. And without a bankroll, I want to limit the risk. But if we had a bankroll already built up, now we can turn around and start risking that bankroll. And right now we're looking at sellers coming in. I'm anticipating this low to break. There's the low breaking, right? I got in a little bit early, but I'm anticipating a continuation here of this area. And now with the break here, we can absolutely break down into the lows, come through this area. And if we do, now I'm looking for short positions coming into the market on the short side. Any questions about that? Rosie, welcome. Sorry that I didn't notice that you were here earlier. I hope you are having a great day. And of course, any questions, please ask away. I definitely do not have all of the answers, but I've been doing auction market profiling since, I learned auction market theory back in the early aughts, just in terms of profiling and those type of things, and then volume and that sort of stuff back in about 2012. I took my first trade in 98. So I've been around. I have been around. I want to see what price action or what volume is doing here in these highs. We haven't gotten there yet, so I don't really have anything that I'm able to really look at. We have a lot less buying up here, but a lot less volume in general. And so now we're coming back down, testing back into the area again. We're not holding this area. And so I don't want to add into the position right now because we still hold our risk down here at the low. But above this area, there's your buyers stronger. I'm going to go ahead and add one more. And I'm going to go ahead and I don't want to stop. I'm going to put one limit right below this high, just so I can get out of the risk again of that position I just got in. But now we're nibbling at the market, right? The market's very rotational. We're just nibbling at the market, getting in with a little bit of size, getting out, getting in with a little bit of size, getting out, just trying to build up a small bankroll here is all we're doing. And that last position got us in a little bit earlier, which is nice. But I wanted to wait until we started to see aggressive buyers into this area here above the high of this area before entering in, because this could have acted as resistance as well, which would have pushed us down. And I don't want to add to the position when we're at risk to possible rotations lower. I don't like the high volume coming in here at the high, and I don't like the fact we didn't break the target, but that's better. So let's go ahead and put our stop in now. Now that same stop is only $326, but now we're up $129, right? So now we're only risking, $300, $326, $200 in total, right? So we're only risking $200. The risk is much more minimal. And that 200 includes, what we have in revenue right now. And we're just going to go ahead and continue to trade this area here as long as it holds. And we're going to continue to nibble out of it, right? A little in, little out, little in, little out. I would be getting heavier in this area, but we're still at 942. We haven't even hit the 945 mark yet. So I'm just being careful. I do like the buyer that's sitting right there. So I'm going to go ahead and enter another one here. And I'm going to do the same exact thing that I did before. This high volume right below this area, I'm going to go ahead and pop one out. If we get back up there. Again, just nibbling. And then I need to adjust my stop for the difference in size. And as long as this market's rotational in here, I'm just going to keep doing this, just adding and getting out, adding and getting out. Buyers are getting a little bit aggressive here, anticipating this area to test. We held. If buyers are strong, we're going to come back up in here. We're going to rotate between this area until buyers or sellers, one of them gets stronger and pushes us out of the area of support or resistance, the support below us and the resistance above us. And of course, if we get down below this area, that's going to turn into resistance rather than support, but we've been holding it this morning this whole time. And it's 943. So I'll be anticipating price action eventually to start breaking out of this range, and we're not yet. We're barely breaking higher highs, and the moment we make a higher high, it immediately pulls back. We don't have a lot of aggressive buying at these highs, and so cycling back through at this point in time and trying to add into the position is just not going to be in the cards for me at the moment. So when we come back down here, I'm not looking to add unless we see some push in the upward direction right now. I'm not seeing buyers getting aggressive at these highs, which is telling me I'm anticipating these lows now to possibly come in and break. We're risking 322 on the position. That's still going to be an expense. Let me watch this bar. I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive on my stop, and I'm going to limit the risk to the position because we're not getting higher in here. And I don't want to get rid of all of the revenue in this position. If we get in here or we get out here, I'm going to move my stop to a break even. So if this gets hit, move to a stop to a break even, we're going to risk $76, which still locks in a little bit of a bankroll. Not much this morning, but I'm not getting back in down here because I'm not seeing aggressive buying here into the highs, which would expect rotation to the downside. And if I'm expecting rotation to the downside, I definitely do not want to be long. And so we just one tick that high there. Well, two ticked it, whatever it might be. Not much aggression. So I'm going to move this now to a break even. I don't want to risk any more into the position. We're going to have a free trade on here, lock in the revenue, lock in $20 on these two contracts. And we're going to wait for a new area to develop because I'm not liking what I see here in this context. I don't want to go short up here because the buyers, I'm still anticipating buyers to control this area right now. And I haven't seen that shift yet to tell me that buyers are in control. Because for buyers to be in, or for sellers to be in control, because for sellers to be in control at this point, we'd be looking more for a possible rotation to the downside that can more trend rather than trading in a range and value. And right now we're trading in a range. And so we get below this area, I'm much more looking for an area of expansion to the downside where we're going to be more rotational in this area. But this rotation's too tight for me, and I just don't like the fact that buyers are not stepping in at these highs. So I'm anticipating price action to come back down through this area, possibly rotate back into it, and then come back down again. Now, I'm not taking a short here because we still have support below us, and I want price action to prove that it wants to go down, rather than taking a stab and saying, okay, I'm just going to short here with expectation we're going to get through support. That to me is guessing. You're telling the market what it's going to do rather than the market coming to you and saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. I hope everybody understands that concept. Broke through that area a little bit. Give me 1 second. I'm going to actually pause this so I don't miss anything, but I'm going to go grab a water real quick. I'm going to be right back. Okay. That is much better. And what else is new? I forgot to turn my light on again. There we go. Now we're not in the dark anymore. Trading in the dark. All right. Price action broke through, right? Trading back into this area. Now let's see if buyers or sellers are going to get in control in this area. I don't want to just short through this area because this whole yellow area here, I'm anticipating buyers to be responsive in this area. The problem is buyers aren't being responsive out of the area. So I'm just not choosing to participate in that area anymore. 223, trading 3 micros, rotation. I'm good with that. We'll just wait. Back through the area, immediate buying, right? We don't see any sellers coming in here until we get into the highs. But the moment we get into the highs, we start seeing some aggressive selling, and then sellers immediately defend and buyers step aside and not make higher highs. Now we are starting to get some buyers in here. So I'm looking at this high to break. There it goes. Beautiful. That's good. But we're not breaking higher highs. Enough to get through this area of support, not enough buyer participation to get us into the highs. So now I'm anticipating these lows to break. But I don't want to just sell in that anticipation because we're still looking for buyer response in this area. And sure enough, every time we come down and test into the lower areas of the lower bands of this area, we continue to make, or we continue to see rejection. Ram, you seeing anything different than what I'm seeing right now? Get somebody else involved in the conversations instead of just me all the time. How did you do yesterday trading? I'm going to take a shot. I am going to take a shot here to the downside, but only one. I want very, very small size. And the reason being is the rejection here didn't get above the high. The bar closed near its low, and we just got through the open of this bar, and it was enough to break a lower low. So now I'm looking for a possible continuation. But we can find quick, swift buying in here, just as we just saw, right? And so I don't want to get heavy. This is just put on in case we break the lows. And if I come down into this area here, if I come down into this area and I break back up again, I can be looking to add into this position in here. It's going to be a worse fill, but I will still be better, and I will still have a better entry than down below this area. And still anticipating buyers responsive down here. That's what we're seeing. But look at all the selling here, 1,300, 700, a lot more than we have over here. If we don't break this low and we come back up into these buyers, what we have now is buyer absorption, seller absorption by the buyers. Alam, how's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, I haven't seen you before, so first time on your stream. I am beginner order flow trader. So far enjoying your stream, really educational. Beautiful. Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to ask. I've been trading order flow since 2012, 2013. I did take a 6-year hiatus. I retired from trading in 2019 in December. I just now got back into trading again in April of this year, but I took my first trade in 98. So I've been around. I'm a dinosaur when it comes to trading. It is what it is. Now, I don't like the rejection here directly off of this area and the buyers and sellers coming in. So I'm going to be defensive on this. I'm going to put my stop right above the high volume area in here, anticipating another rotation higher before we break down. Okay, I just don't want to take the risk on the position is what it boils down to. We're still in an area, buyers are still in control, right? And I have to be cognizant of that. I took a shot to the downside. We didn't get continuation of the sellers in. If we get back down here into this range and sellers are aggressive, I can always get back in. But I don't want to take the risk in case we do move into a more rotational, higher market condition, because I am expecting buyers to come in here and defend this area. So again, short, right? I'm going to take a very, very tight risk here. I'm not getting in size. I'm not adding. I'm not doing anything else. I'm being very patient with this market, but I'm following the buyers and sellers. I'm following the participants as they get aggressive. But what I don't like above me is the fact that we cannot break the highs. So buyers are not getting aggressive at the highs. Let them get aggressive down here at the lows. I can manage my risk there. But if I try to buy this, what am I buying into? Nothing but weakness above me. Now we start to break. Now I'm anticipating or looking for a close below this area. Why? We have initial balance here. I want to see a close below initial balance, because if we just get a wick down there, we actually have rejection. We don't have acceptance of price of lower prices. We're in an area where I'm anticipating price action to move through pretty rapidly, and we didn't exactly do that. We actually created some volume into this area. So I want to see price action, aggressive sellers at the low, then a pullback. And now sellers get aggressive into this area someplace to give me a chance to start adding into the position and getting size, expecting a continuation to the downside and a possible trend to start to develop around the lows, or lower prices, I should say. So I'm anticipating this area, if it breaks, for this to turn into a possible trend condition on the short-term charts, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, those type of things. I took short around 22,952. Okay, so around the 520s, you took a short. Okay, yeah, so you're short a little bit, actually a little bit higher than I am. Scaled up positions whenever price rejected at anchored VWAP. Gotcha. Yeah, and I don't have the VWAP, so, and then you know why. I'm looking for price action to come into this area. I'm going to go ahead and get into another one. It's a little bit lower than I wanted to. So I'm going to see if I can't cycle back in here. I might have to take another one lower here because I don't want anything lower than, I don't want less than 3. So now we're going to go ahead and put our stop. I'm going to risk a little bit more. I like to risk around 500. I'm up 229 right now. That's a little bit too much in what I want in this position. So we're going to put the risk right above these highs here. Now let's see where price has been. Let's see where price has been. Let's see what we can target below us. Oh, geez, that's not helpful. That's not helpful at all. Let's do this. I'm looking for high volume. I'm looking for high volume to start scaling out of my position a little bit, because high volume in a directional move is going to act as a potential anchor to price. And so, or not an anchor, but a magnet. And so if we look at this area here, the first thing that I would do is, if we're going long, I would say we should probably pull back into this area. The next place would be in here. So I'm going to go ahead and set a limit. I'm on 1. We're good to go. I'm going to set a limit here. And then I'm going to set one more. I want to be in more, but I just don't have the area that it's giving to me. And we're going to put one there. So those are our first 2 targets I'm looking at. And I'm being pretty aggressive on my targets down here, because price action could swiftly move back up in here. Because if you look at the longer time frame chart, right? Price action, we have another ledge here of possible buyers stepping into the market, and I want to be cognizant of that. But I do want to get as much out of this position as possible, because I am anticipating a possible trend to develop on the short-term chart. So let's get the footprints back up again. And then I will get, if we get out of these positions here, I will be cycling back in for another position if we get it up here. And if we don't, that's okay. I got one there. I have one here. I lost mine down at the bottom. And so volume is not as wide, as thick as it was the other day. The other day I couldn't index anything because there was, when I went back to look at areas. So I'm going to take that area off now, or at least the volume. And I'm going to put it back into here. And I still don't like what I'm seeing here. And so I'm going to bring it down one more notch and just see. I'm looking for something in particular. That'll work. And I should be in another one. And we're going to grab another one right here. And we might grab one more because I have this above me right there. Okay, good. So now I need to adjust my stop again. I haven't hit any targets, which is fine, but I have my entry up here. I'm going to go ahead and exit one right here if it gives it to me, just to limit a little bit of the risk to the position, to the overall position. But I like what I'm seeing here. And if it pops back up here into this area, I'll add 1 or 2 more. And it does not, which is just fine. So we have one off, beautiful, a little bit of profit taken there off of that one contract. We're still in 4. Price action did not break a lower low there. Cycling back up again, I'm going to add one more right there into my area of what I'm looking for. And we're going to see if this holds now as support or if this is resistance. I'm going to come back off of here. I'm going to pop another one in here, risking 1240 now, which is a lot to be risking. And so if price action, before it even gets up here, right, if it comes back here into this area or into this area here, I'm going to get defensive on the stop. I can easily bring it back down again. But I want to give this room just in case we decide that we're going to start cycling higher again. That was my actual area, would have loved to enter in. But I had another area of resistance below me, thinking that might hold. Buyers stepping in here. If buyers step in and get above this high, I want to be aggressive on my exit. Because we have buyers stepping into the market right now, and it's aligned to the longer time frame at the moment. but we are in a rotational area in the longer time frame, and so this rotation makes a lot of sense. This is why I'm giving it room. But buyers could step, this is an area where buyers could step in. So I'm being very cognizant, very careful of that idea. I'm not getting heavier into this position because of that. And I don't like the fact that we're not coming down and testing the lows in here and buyers are accumulating orders and positions in here. I don't like it at all. Not even a little bit. I like this better, but we're not seeing sellers coming in and defending these lower prices yet. We're still seeing buyers stepping in just like we were before, which tells me we could be more rotational to the upside here, or we could see more rotation to the upside. As you can tell, I have my cursor on the stop right now, ready to be defensive on this position if I need to be. I'm looking for sellers here coming in to see if we create a lower low. Nothing yet. Ram, it's funny, right? I'm thinking right now in my head, I'm like, that's probably where around VWAP would be. I'm thinking it might be a little bit higher, but I'm thinking it might be in that area right there. But I'm not liking how this price action is behaving in here. And I don't like the fact that I'm still in with 5 contracts the way it's behaving. So I'm going to get defensive here on 1 and make just a little tiny bit so I can limit that risk, at least on 1 contract. It drops it down into 4 now instead of 5. Hey, Maddie, what's going on? Yo, what up? Hope y'all doing great. Do you know that your screen is cutting off the top so that we can't see time frame of the left chart and the top right chart? I recommend 1 minute 1 and is it cutting off up here? There we go. Is that better? You like that better, Maddie? Does that work for you? I've moved my charts around so TikTok can see them, and it kind of messes things up. And I don't put them back where I had them before. I'm Maddie. I can't even say Scandinavia and properly. What do you expect from me? God, man, what do you want? How long are you on holiday for? Okay, good. So we did get the 1 there. I did take some off. We're still 718 risk, so we're still, still holding 400 risk on the position right now. But I'm still looking for this to possibly come down. We still don't have buyers coming in and making higher highs that are of any use. This again, I had to bring it up, I just had to. I'm one of those individuals that I like to laugh at my own stupidity, right? And it's not just ignorance, it's stupidity. I know these things. Honestly, I think right now, Maddie, I'm doing so much right now that I'm just really, really tired and my brain just is not thinking enough. So today I'm thinking I might be done around 4 or so. My family is actually on vacation in Myrtle Beach. They left today. So I'm thinking I might go to sleep at like 5 or 6 this evening and just sleep until I wake up at 4 on most days and get like 10, 11 hours of sleep and just catch up a little bit because I'm just dead and my brain's not working. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it's this again. I had to. You're welcome. Decided to give you a little laugh. Oh, good times. Yeah, I was thinking that VWAP would probably be someplace in this area. RAM, not so sure, because I don't have it up, and you saw my version of it on this platform. It's not exactly the best example of it by any stretch of the imagination. Been traveling maybe on 2 month back, but back in 2 weeks, traveling with the missus and kiddo before he starts in kindergarten. Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, 2 month holiday. Oh, I need to move. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, you have fun with the family, and man, your kiddo starting kindergarten. Craziness. Make you feel old? I know when mine started school, I was like, okay, yeah, that went by way too fast. It was like yesterday, they were just walking, and then all of a sudden they're going to start kindergarten. It's like, what? I don't know. Life is funny. I don't want to get aggressive in here right now. I could add in that one contract that I just got out of, but I really don't want to because I'm still not seeing price action really wanting to break lower here. And I'm still seeing that buyers could possibly get aggressive, but I have to see higher highs in order for that to happen. So I'm still being very loose on this position in terms of I'm not over managing it by bringing my stop down. I'm giving it room, but in this little range here, I'm not exactly quite sure what the market's going to end up doing and what it's actually doing right now. Order flow's not helping me. We are rotational in an area that we'd be anticipating rotation in the 30-minute, and that's exactly what we're seeing is that rotational market condition right now. And we're kind of just in that realm of we're either going to break up or break down. The reason why I'm in the short, again, we failed at the highs up here and couldn't get higher. We closed below initial balance, looking for a possible continuation move to the downside. But we are in that longer time frame area though, where that could all change in a quick moment and price action starts to move higher. Um, Getting on 3 months overall, tired of phone trading now though. Yeah, I can imagine. Trading on the phone can only last for so long. I've never done it before. I've never traded on my phone. If I go on vacation, I go on holiday. I mean, now granted, I don't take 2, 3 months vacations like you do, Maddie. But if I were, you know what? What I would do, and I've done this before, my happy ass, right? This is just me. I'm bringing a laptop, I'm bringing 3 monitors, and I'm setting myself up at McDonald's or a Starbucks, is what I'm doing. And I've done it before. And I have cords running all over the place, and people are coming in as I was running a trading room at the time. And so I literally set up my trading room in a McDonald's as we were traveling to our final destination. I don't even remember where we were going, but yeah. Yeah, I couldn't find a Starbucks, so I set up my whole trading platform, my whole trading room. I have my headset on. I had Pelican cases for all my monitors, right? And so I just opened up my Pelican cases, put everything out, had 3 monitors strapped to my laptop. And individuals were looking at me like I was crazy. It was hilarious. Only me. Only me. Good times. So still in three, looking, for this area in here. I don't really like the fact that we just broke that low and rejected immediately. I'm really considering getting aggressive on here. Using TradingView for the first 3 years. So just using that and using volume bars for entry signal, but working out well enough. Keeping the accounts alive really is what I was doing. Yeah, no, makes sense. Absolutely. I like it. Well done, sir. Well done. Could you imagine though? traveling through Germany and you see some American, you can tell they're American because of the, there's no accent or anything else, right? And of course, we can't speak any other language, so that kind of just points us out even more. And then, and then they just set up at a McDonald's in Germany someplace with this big, huge setup. I don't know, man. I make myself laugh. Um, Hey, just shorts. How's it going? Can you see Discord trading section for a minute, please? Tell that doubt to me. No, I'm not looking at anything for you, just shorts. Jeez, what do you want? Let's see here. In the trading? I don't see anything in trading. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's something there. What should be done to trade in this? Like, it is not giving retracements or how to identify to trade or not trade in this type of market. You've when it comes down like that and it moves down that much, here I'll show everybody the screen that I'm looking at because it's just price. I don't see anything in here that's proprietary. In this context where it just comes down, the only place that I could say in this area right here on this pullback, is there a high volume area? Because we broke and we closed below this whole structure right here. I would be looking for a high volume structure someplace in here, looking for that pullback to come in there and short off of that. And then when it came in and did the same thing here where it wasn't able to break the open of this bar and really even come into that area as well, there's your rejection point. There should be a high volume in here someplace as well, and that's your place to add. And if you can't add into this bar here because it's just moving too fast, or you're just not sure because of the large up bar that it is, wait until the open of the next bar to come up here, test that same area, because I'm sure that this wick tested that area and then short from that area. And that's what I would do in the context of not having pullbacks. I wouldn't add down here into this bar. The move is just down too far. You're adding in way too late. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Of course. Is that better? Is that better? Nah. Price action just finally decided to break. Sweet. All right. So in this context of like this area here, right? There's going to be some form, I'm sorry, right here. There's going to be some form of high volume around this close. That's why it came back up. There's going to be some form of high volume there, right? Am I right? And so this bar, when it opens and it comes into that high volume and it comes back down, look and see if there's any sellers getting aggressive off of this high. There's your first short entry. Don't try to enter off of this bar down here doing the same thing. The move has gone too far. And then this bar here, it can't even get through the open of this bar here that really started the down move. This is the breakout bar. This is your key bar. So you came back through the open of your key bar. Why isn't this your key bar? Because price action could have rejected off of here and just gone back up and moved directly back up into these highs. Okay. And so I would be expecting that there's high volume in here. This bar here can't even get to that high volume. There's probably high volume in this area. That's where you want to look for your next place to possibly short in this bar, and probably high volume in this wick that you can do the same thing here. This will give you a chance off of the high volumes to get in with more size. You've uploaded the full chart? Let me take a look. So we're out with another one. We're still in with two. Let me move my stop real quick. At this point in time, with these lower lows, I'm going to go ahead and move my stop. I don't want to move it to that high or to move it to these lows here, because that's where I'm expecting price action to possibly come back and test back into the lows of this range before it continues to move down again. So I'm going to be a little bit less aggressive on this target right now, and I'm going to move this down here. And then my next target that I'm looking at, I will be looking at man, I don't really see anything good here. So there's the lows in there. Where am I looking? We're already at that target there. Dang it. Did this really go down that much yesterday? I seriously do not remember what happened yesterday. I like the momentum here. Give me 1 second, Shorts. I'm not ignoring you. I'm gonna go ahead and get out with one here, trying to get as much momentum as I can. I wanted to be out farther down, but I just wasn't able to there. So now I'm only on one for a possible trend. Dang it. This is difficult. This is difficult because we don't have a lot of areas to be going off of and looking for potential targets. My next target that I see is viable in the longer term daily function is at 169, but that makes 0 sense to me. 0 cents. Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to find an area here that I can get out of this position. Because I don't see anything below me that's actually of any help whatsoever. This is still 146. It's the same thing. It's the same area. I'm not putting a target at 146. I'm just going to let this trade and move my stop is what I'm going to end up doing. I'll end up getting out with a stop because I don't have any decent targets below me. I'm anticipating a possible trend because of what's happening here, so I'm just going to trade this as a trend. Prior day value area low. Yeah, I mean, prior day value area low for me is at 930s, right? We're already hit that. So, and I pretty much got out with my third contract there. The other thing that I could do is just easily just say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it off of this area here, and then now just trail this based upon what's happening here. That's what I'm going to do because I don't have any other areas. So I'm just going to take 2 standard deviations away from. So what those lines are doing is it's taking your initial balance, right, between your high and your low, and it's just taking that range and it's taking a standard deviation of it. So the difference from here to here is the same as here to here. And then, which is the IB, which is here to here. And then you're doing the same thing, just another round of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 standard deviations away from here and then trail my stop for the rest of it. Now let me get back into the question from just shorts. Let me get out of that, back into here, and let me get into your full screen. Okay, so this is your full screen. And you're looking at this area here. Was this down? No. Where's your down at? Your down's right here. Okay, perfect. Yeah. And so this here, you're going to have your high volume. That's going to pull back into your high volume right here. Because of the depth of this, the full move down that's been happening. So here's your 1 push, right? This is your 2, right? This is your 3. This is your 4. This is kind of your 5th wave already, right? So if you're looking at Elliott wave or anything along those lines to get an idea of trend, right? This is your 5th, and you've already closed below this area. So you'll be looking for at least an extension of this magnitude, the end of the leg of your primary move, right? Which is here. And that's kind of what you have here. So you get this down, right? This should have high volume in here. That's going to be your pullback into your high volume to a continuation down. And when you come back and test in here, just don't anticipate these lows to be tested or to be taken out because if you're already in the 5th wave. And so if you come in here and you test into this area, right? And you get into this bar or you get into this bar, make sure you target before these lows. What the heck, your trade management is sick. How you scale in and out of DeMarket blows my brain. Well, thank you. Thank you, Alam. I appreciate that. I've been doing this for a while. Does that answer your question, just shorts? If not, I can get back into it a little bit deeper for you. But that's what I would be looking at, is the high volumes into the wicks coming in, testing the prior areas, especially when it tested that prior open, right? Understand where you are in the context of the overall legs of your trend. You're already towards the end of that. Don't expect an extension to the low. Although it did break the low, it still didn't break it by much, okay? And if it doesn't break it by much, right? Here, okay, then you'll be anticipating this is kind of just a range extension at that point in time. This is a great reversal. You're coming up, breaking the lows off of a fifth wave, right? You even broke them a little bit here on this segment, right? Pull back where? Right back into the high of your range into here. Okay, you have high volume into here. You can short into this again, but there's your reversal. Why is this your reversal? You can even look at a reversal here if you wanted to too, but you don't break the highs. This is your reversal because you broke out of your waves into that low, right? Here's your key bar here on the reversal. This is going to pull back into that high volume into there. There's your long. Your long continues, breaks above your highs in here. When it breaks above these highs, where are you expecting it to pull back to? Just like this pulled back to, back into these highs. Where is this going to pull back into? Back into the highs, right? And where are the highs that this pullback is going to go into? Right here. And it, sure enough, kept that low. It didn't invade that low. There's your next place to add into the long, right there. And if you're late to the party, there's your add. There's your start of the up move. But when he's looking at the up move, 1, 2, 3, right? Here's your fourth. Your fifth is probably not going to break these highs because you broke these lows. So don't expect this move to come up and break these highs. That's just reading price, guys. I'm not looking at volume there. I'm not looking at anything else. You just have to understand how price behaves around itself. That's it. You got wigged out? Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get into what I did in here, okay? In this context, right, we have a high volume structure as price action came up into initial balance, right? We couldn't make highs. Price action comes back down again and gives us a high volume area here, right? We have a high volume within this bar, but look at all this high volume of buyers stepping in. Buyers tried to break the high, couldn't close above it. Price action again expanded to the upside, couldn't close above it with high volume on top of us. If we have high volume up there and price is not able to move higher off of high volume, that's telling us a sense of rejection. The sense of rejection happened again right here, right? That's why I was willing to start nibbling short, getting rid of my longs and not being long anymore, because we're not breaking that. But as long as price has broke this high here, I'm anticipating at least a test to initial balance until we start rejecting the highs and rejecting the highs. Now I don't want to nibble into this area. And why am I only nibbling? I'm only nibbling because price action hasn't proven a direction yet for the day. Then price action comes in here, we break below the lows. What happens? We get another range of high volume right into here. This is where I really want to get into the market. But because of this close and how it happened, we have another high volume that came in right here in this area. That's when I started nibbling. I should have waited for up here and I didn't. If I would have waited for up here, I would have scaled some out here because I would have had a higher entry. I would have scaled out a little bit here, added again, scaled out a little bit more, added again, scaled out a little bit more. And because my entry was up here, I've been getting heavy right here. I probably would have added 4 or 5 contracts to the touch of this and been in about 9 contracts because we tried to break the high here on high volume and couldn't do it. But because my entry was so low because of my scale ends, right? I didn't want to take on that risk in a sideways market. And we're still in that area here at the time where We have this high volume area, price action cycling back through there. We can snap up through this low volume here, move directly back into value or value area high. That would have pushed us directly back up into initial balance. So we're not in a trend market condition. We're in a ranged balanced market condition. And I'm actually trading the lower edge of the range before we actually break out and move into a trend. That's why I didn't want to get too aggressive. I like to get aggressive when I have confluence of areas and things are matching and pointing to one single direction. Here I had 2 or 3 different directions it could have done, and I didn't want to get that heavy, right? But trading 3, 4 lots, I was in 5 at one point in time. This kind of sketched me out a little bit when we came back up here because of the violence and the size of buyers at this high. That's why I got out again when it rotated back down with my 5th contract. I would have liked to have held my 5th contract because that would have probably given me a little bit more confidence in here in order to add 6 or 7 as it's coming down. But trading 4 or 5 minis and up 862 on the day, we're still up, 308 right now, or 300, almost 400 on the contract that we're in, up 1,000 to 1,200 trading minis on the day. Max size is 5. Max risk would be 1,000 if it just snapped against me. I really wouldn't have taken more than 600 or 700 on that position at that point in time. I'm kind of happy with it. So that was my reasoning and my thinking along and in the context of these trades. You know, if you like this, you want to learn how to do this, just join my sessions when I'm here. I'm live 9:40 to 10:40. Next week, I'm not going to be sim anymore. I will be the next week or the week after. I'm giving myself time. I've only been streaming now. This is my 3rd week. I'm giving myself time to be able to answer questions, be confident and comfortable trading in front of other people again. You know, it's kind of an art, and I'm being patient with myself and I'm giving myself time. But pretty soon I am going to go live. When I go live, I'm not going to be going live again in my cash account. I'm going live in a prop account, because what is the benefit of me trading a cash account when I can take a $20,000, $30,000 expense? And you guys can't do that in any way, shape, or form or fashion within your actual your funded or your evaluation accounts. So I want to do this in the context of the evaluations, and that's why I'm in the micros and not the minis, because the micro accounts, right, we're reducing our risk just because of the size of the contracts, and then we can turn around, get heavy in areas that make sense, and scale out of our positions because we know how to scale in and scale out of the market, right? We're a jet ski, not an aircraft carrier. What's an aircraft carrier? All in and all out, right? Because you have to be right. The moment that you're in all in, you have to be right. If I was all in here and basically risking, 30, 40, 50% of my account, let's say I can have a $1,000 risk and I put a $500 stop in, I'm already risking half my account because I'm in a mini, right? That's easy to do. That's not even difficult. And so instead of doing that, let's limit our risk from our initial entries. Let's have a risk of $50, $100 actually at the most, right? Just on one contract. And as the market starts moving in our favor and starts coming back to the higher volume areas that we're anticipating pullbacks in, let's start adding into the market, because now we're favorable. We're not telling the market, this is what you're going to do by being all in. We're saying, okay, I see what you're doing. I'm favorable to what you're doing. Let me scale into the market. Quick question. Can order flow be used with a different approach to the markets? Places where I would enter, I can wait for the volume to show me to enter or not. Well, 100%. Yeah. I use auction market theory, volume profiling for my entry areas. Use VWAP. Use, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to. Even I would say the ICT guys, use that as well as in confluence of your pullbacks. Don't just take a 33, 50%, 66% retracement just because it's there. Look at your volume, look at your support and resistance. How is price trading around that support and resistance? And then take your position when volume tells you. Why volume? Because an auction needs participants. And if you're not reading what the participants are doing in the market, you're only reading price, and auctions don't care about price. Auction cares about how participants react around price. Auctions care about how participants act around price, and that's the mirror effect of the markets. The markets are mirroring that back, but you can't see that unless you're looking at the volume within the bars. Because if you shut this off and all you're looking at is this, you're blind, in my viewpoint. Absolutely 100% blind. But you add this and you see the participants, you can see your areas of high volume. You know the price action is probably going to pull back to the high volume. You see buyers getting aggressive in that high volume area, it might break. You may not want to use that pullback. You might want to wait for the next one, especially if you're using a 1-to-1, 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. You're going to be able to set your R's better for your risk, right? Because you're going to be able to see where you're anticipating that pullback to happen. And if that doesn't just come back to your line and you don't get in with your fill, well, maybe there's a high volume right below you and you're able to use that as your entry point instead of just the line itself, right? I had an individual come in here that follows ICT, and this is pretty much their exact words. The pullback areas are mathematical magical numbers, or mathematics magical numbers that the smart money uses. I don't have anything against ICT, but if you're using mathematical magical numbers as you believe that, I'm sorry, I'm going to challenge you all day long, because I've been in a prop firm. I've worked in a prop firm. I was a trader in a prop firm, brick and mortar, in 2008, okay, before they were all closed down. I know what they're looking at, and they are not looking at that information. And so if somebody's teaching that, that's a false teaching. If somebody is just, wrapping that around in their brain, it's a false belief. And I challenge the belief, not the idea, not the method. I believe everything in trading can possibly work. And it was only created because it works in the particular market that it was created for. But don't sit there and expect something to be magical and mathematically compliant to what the actual traders in your large firms are doing. Why they got closed? What got closed? Oh, the prop firm, because of the 2008 and 2014, the Dodd-Frank Act came in from Congress and they banned all prop firms in the United States. What you're seeing now pop up are not normal prop firms. Okay, they're not. That's what they handle business completely different. That's why they're now compliant. But it took them from in 2016, 2017 is when Top Step first came on. So it took them that long to figure out the legalities of how to do prop firms in the United States again. And now you have the prop firms that you have today that are completely different from the prop firms prior to 2014. And most of them closed doors around 2010. Because the government made it so difficult for them to run business. And so, the real, I hope that helps you. I hope that helps put that into context for you. 100%. If you are confident in your pre-market analysis, you're confident in what you're seeing in the charts, please, 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 please do not stop using that, because it's the confidence that makes you a trader. Guys, seriously, it's not what's on my charts that makes me a trader. What makes me a trader is my confidence, my ability to make snap decisions and be able to stay aligned to those snap decisions without changing them. Think about it. Take a trader that's struggling, right? They question what they're doing at almost every level. Am I supposed to be in now? Should I be in? Should I not? Should I get out? What do I do? What do you think I should do? That's not a confident individual. And the only way to have confidence is to be able to read the information on your charts and have the clarity when you know you need to act. And then you don't question the clarity. That's how you build confidence. I got access to a broker who gives 30 days brokerage back if you are profitable at the end of the month. It's good news for me. Can you help me increase the lots? Absolutely. Most definitely. That's awesome. Yeah, use them. And then see if you can't find another one and do it again after 30 days. I hope that helps. But no, don't let me talk you out of anything that you're using. And yes, order flow backs up anything, because order flow is really designed to entries. I mean, think about it. Order flow is designed to get into scalp entries, okay? But if you're a day trader, if you're a swing trader, you know, you're a position trader, right? You still need to use entries. Look at me. I mean, I was in 5, right? I got spooked out of the market with 1, so I was in with 4 just because I wanted to limit my risk, but I'm still in 1. Right? If I'm a scalper, I'm sorry, I'm not in a position when market's trading, you know, at 03 and I'm in from where? 46. Scalpers don't hold a position for 43 points. I'm sorry, they just don't. That's not what they do, right? But I turned my scalp into a day trade. And if it continues going, if you wanted to, and you can hold overnight, turn it into a swing trade. And if it continues to go and the daily charts or whatever decides to turn around and move into a trend, turn that damn thing into a freaking a position trade and call it a day. That's where you're going to make your money. But you need a methodology that allows you to do that. And so like you were looking at me looking for a deeper target, I don't have one right now. I had to use a make-up mathematical equation of a 2 standard deviations of initial balance right now to get me out of a position, because I don't have anything that auction market theory is telling me that I should get out with the market. Now I move my stop here. Does anybody have any idea why I may be moving my stop here and why didn't I move it here? Anybody? Anybody have any theories on that? I'm going to make you guys think. You guys tell me the answer. Why am I moving my stop there? Why didn't I move my stop here? Why didn't I move it someplace down here? Why didn't I keep it up here? Why am I now moving my stop here? Do you swing do you swing in like your stock portfolio or something like that? I used to. I don't have a stock portfolio anymore. I lost it in my divorce. But yes, well, I do. I have investments, but I don't have stocks, right? I don't have a stock account. But yes, absolutely. I used to use this stuff all the time for that. But when I traded stocks though, I didn't have footprints, right? I just used time and sales. That's it. And we would reconstruct the time and sales to kind of do what you guys are doing with icebergs, right? Where we would take and see where 20, 30, 50 lots were happening, right? And like, it would be like 500, right? Or 5,000, 10,000. And would reconstruct the 100s coming into the market. So the individuals that are just in there, right? And they're just going and entering the market. We reconstructed those and looked at those as higher volume. Sellers are gaining momentum. Okay. Yeah, true. But there's a reason for it. Okay. So let me get you're on the right track, Just Shorts, for sellers are gaining momentum for why I moved my stop here. You're on the right track. Okay. But let me get you a little bit more detail. Okay. We closed below this range. If we close below this range and we get a pullback, I'm not anticipating the pullback to come up more than about the 50% of this range. Okay. So if you take this range, you look about basically 50%, right? And you don't need, an actual number for it. It's more than likely not going to pull back much farther than this area. And if it pulls back above here, this could be a reversal. If it's a reversal, I want to be out. Okay. And so this is the mark of a reversal, as a full pullback of this range, because this market closed. I could have done it here when we broke the low of this range and we closed below it. I don't look at a break, a close below. Okay, I could have moved it here. I just was teaching and doing other things and didn't pay attention. And as soon as I noticed a close below here, I'm like, that's where I want to move my stop. Again, that's just understanding price action. That's not auction market theory. That's not footprints. That's not, volume or anything else. It's just price action and how price usually behaves. Just Shorts, does that make sense to you? Do you agree with that? Are you like, nah, man, that's heresy. Nobody does that. But I don't want to be shaken out of this trade, is what the point is, right? I really don't. And if I was using volume on here, I would be moving my stop right about there. But we're already moved so far down this morning, and the fact I don't have a lot of auction market confluence, I'm going to go ahead and move it here. Because if we break this high, we're probably going to move higher. We could even test this high up here, and I just don't want to play anymore. I choose not to participate. I'm taking my toys and going home because the market's not doing what I want it to do. 100%. What's your take on level 2 data? Level 2 data is great if you're doing stocks. If you're not doing stocks, you don't need it. Not even a little bit. It's just a way to be able to read the NASDAQ information a little bit deeper in the context of stocks. But if you're doing indices and stuff in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the CME and those type of things, no. You're spending money for no reason whatsoever. And I have no desire to trade stocks again, ever. Oh my God, you need to go short and you got to borrow shares and it costs you to borrow the shares, 20 to 30 basis points or whatever it might be. And it still costs you $20, $30. And then, the market makers, right? They get involved and they turn around and make the spread 40 cents and you don't even know it's 40 cents and you get into the market and you're in 40 cents higher and oh my God, the games and stocks. No, thank you. I am done with all of that. Too old to deal with those shenanigans. It's bad enough that the NASDAQ can run 20 points in a bar, 50 points in a bar. I don't really feel like running the shenanigans of stocks anymore. Does that help answer your question, though, Alon, in terms of level 2? I just don't think we need it. Not in the Merc. The Merc, we have all the information we need right here. I mean, I could use footprint charts and just trade probably just fine off of a 2-minute without any other information. The other information over here helps me be able to hold into positions longer and those type of things, but I'm pretty confident that I could take this chart right here and just scalp and be just fine and never look at anything else. Beautiful. You're welcome anytime. Ask away, guys. Ask away. I don't have a course. I don't have a book. I don't have anything. I'm just honestly here to be present for individuals that some way, somehow, their paths cross with mine, and I'm able to provide information that they feel is worthwhile. And if I can do just that, even just for 1 or 2 people, it's worth it to me to be in here and do this because I'm going to be doing it anyhow. And I don't have all the answers. I make mistakes. We all do, right? That's what the practice is for. And this is why I have a theory, auction market theory, because I come into the lab and I practice. And what am I practicing? Running an experiment, see if this works. And if it doesn't work, what do I need to adjust? Do I need to adjust the actions, the experiment itself that I am running? Or do I need to adjust the theory to match the actions that I'm doing, or both? That's the whole reason why this lab exists. And let me tell you, just being here and having people in here and listening to their perspectives, just short, giving me the chart and asking me for, there's no real pullbacks here. How do you enter around this? It challenges me, and that challenge, I get to realize that I see things that I didn't even know that I actually see, or helps me define a concept in my head that maybe I just naturally see or just comes naturally, but I never was able to actually explain it before. I learned so much through your guys' questions and those type of things that it's so valuable for me to do this. See the high volume in here? See how we're popping in there, expecting this high to break. Let's see if we get buyers in here. Not enough buyers yet, but I'm still anticipating this high to break. Hold on. We got the sellers coming in here. Sellers. Nope, we're going to test the open of this bar before we test the high. Let's see. Let's see if that happens. Do we test the open? Not quite yet. We got some buyers stepping in here. Are the sellers going to step back in? The bar closed before we had a chance to do it. Rude. But this bar tested the open of this bar before it tested the high of this bar. It's just a matter of just being in front of charts enough in order to be able to see it. If this is what you really want to do, you should have a natural passion or inclination to it. You should have a desire to learn. And if you're doing something and you don't have a desire to actually learn it, you just want it because of the results, you're not going to learn the things that you need to learn in order to be able to drive the results. Results aren't just given to us. It's because we align our actions to a particular intention that fulfills the intention in the first place. It's the alignment of action. And action isn't done in a high performance position like this. Action is not just done in the present moment. It's done in the practice. I mean, think about LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Jordan. Did any of these guys get as good at the game that they are so good at because they just showed up to the games? No, they practice. They made their craft a lifestyle. You know, they didn't eat poorly. They didn't look at Zion Williamson. Why didn't he become a superstar? Because his lifestyle doesn't match what it is that he is doing. It's the same thing for traders because we're in a high performance industry and we don't even realize it. Now, I don't really have a high here for this close. That's why I'm not moving my stop here, right? I'm keeping it here because we close below, but where's my indexed high at? I don't have one. Where I have an index peak high here, my key bar, right? Now, this high here works. So if I get a close below here, I'll move my stop, but not until then. So that's really more of the psychology of trading though, right? Because in the psychology of trading, it's like, okay, well, what does that even mean? I mean, we have to be in the flow or have to meditate, 10 times a day in order to be able to be in a place where we can actually do it. No. It's about aligning our actions to our intentions. That's how we do it. Now, how do we do that? That's the art. Do you agree that there is a shift in market every 20 days, 40 days, 60 days, like in every market? I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't done any of those forms of studies. That's your quant mind going. I don't even look at it that way. I can tell you this, that since June 2nd, we've been trading in a range. Everybody's like, oh my God, we're in a down market. Oh no, this is so bearish and it's so bad. We've been trading in a range, guys. In a range. We barely broke the first low in, I don't know how long. In a long time. There's the next lows that were broken there. When was that date? I don't know. What is that date? See, Maddie, you're making me move my charts and I can't see my damn dates anymore. God bless it. This was March. So from March to May, 60 days. But the trend continued. So there was no market change there. Right, Alam, exactly, right? And so now how do you do that, right? Well, it takes focus, urgency, action, and sleep to change the neuroplasticity or the synapses in our brain that come together that form the strategies that become habits, right? Well, we can't change those, but we can create new ones. And it's the focus and urgency that marks the brain, marks those areas for change. The brain does it for us. We don't even have to. Right? So what's focus and urgency? Focus on your attention of what it is that you want to do and bring it into the present moment. Because when you bring it into the present moment, you're going to act. That's urgency. Because you're going to act. And then it's about aligning your actions to it. Where you make a mistake, okay, beautiful, you learn. How do you learn? You practice, you grow. You don't like, oh God, bless it, and you start breaking keyboards and throwing stuff around and, doing all this other stuff. You don't do it by blaming yourself. You don't do it by chastising yourself, right? Those are the things that keep you away from the change because it keeps the other synapses that are already in your brain working. And as long as it's working, the brain says efficiency, and the brain likes efficiency because the central nervous system needs efficiency, because why put all this brain power to something when we can just be efficient, and more energy can go to digesting food and the other bodily functions to keep you alive, because you changing your synapses doesn't matter in the context of keeping you alive, because it doesn't care what you want, because its job is to keep you alive, and its job comes online before conscious participation does. That's why it dictates what it is that you're going to do. Even though you want to do something for your life, it's going to keep you from doing it because it runs first. How do you stop it? Focus. Consciously participate in your focus of what you want. What happens then? You create a court. And when you create a court, you can have the urgency to step out of the stands where you've been sitting, watching your programming, do all of your actions for you on the court, thinking you're the one that's doing it because it's your identity, but that's your identity court. Create your new court, focused intention, whatever court that is. Focus on it. Bring it into the present moment where that urgency is, and you're going to find yourself getting out of the stands and being on the court where you're able to impact your life, because now you're playing the game instead of observing and watching the game being played for you, thinking you're playing it because, well, that's my identity. That's who I am, and I'm the one that's acting on the court. No. You are conscious participation. You are the person that has the intention. Now align your actions to it and make it happen, because it will. Because when you align your actions to your intention, you fulfill your intention. And when your intention is fulfilled, it fulfills your reality. And now you're fulfilled. Welcome to the Human Performance Lab. Welcome to Live the Return, the definition of my life work. And it just took me 50 years to get on the court and start doing it. So I know all the reasons why you don't do it. It took a near-death experience for me to actually get behind this camera and do this. I should have been dead in August of 2023. By my own volition, not because, I actually did it, but I did the work to get me to that point. Blood clots. Sitting around not doing anything because I was depressed. Because of my divorce, because I lost everything. And I just wanted it to all go away. And the universe came back and said, nah. We're going to bring you to the brink of death. But then we're going to bring you back. And we're not going to give you, one of those near-death experiences, right? Where it's like, oh, I saw the heavens and everything pouring down on me. Oh, no. I was just passed out on the freaking floor. I had no idea. And somehow, some way I woke up. I couldn't even walk. I had to literally, I'm alone in my apartment, right? I literally had to crawl to get my phone off my desk, because if I tried to stand up, my heart was beating so fast and I couldn't breathe, and I almost passed out again. And so I literally couldn't even crawl. I really couldn't move because the blood clots moved from my lower lungs up to my upper, and some way, somehow, when they moved, your blood, your heart pumps blood in and then blood down, right, and pushes blood down. When they moved up, some way, somehow, my heart pushed down and was able to push down over 3 ounces of blood clots. I'm telling you guys, I shouldn't be here, and it took that experience for me to sit here and tell my message to the world of how to align your actions to your intentions. That's how messed up of an individual I was. It took that to get me to the point of practicing my intention. Pretty messed up. Pretty messed up. But here I am on my court, impacting my life in a very impactful way. And I'm hoping that it impacts others. You know, there's nothing wrong with depression. There's nothing wrong with anxiety. There's nothing wrong with living life in your programming. Just how long as a species are we going to be stuck in our own suffering? Because watching from the stands, when you have an intention and you want it to happen and it's not getting there, that's suffering. What do we got here, Maddie? What do you got for me? I'm going to get off my high horse and my soapbox and get over here. What's your question? You wouldn't have sent me this without a question, right? Wait, can I show other people this? I should ask you that first. First, would you like me to show this to other people and look at it, or would you let me look at it after the fact? Try getting in the low volume nodes when price breaks structure. Low volume nodes, price break structure makes a new low. Look for the profits of the day. This is a draw from, you see on all three examples that the rejection is a LVN. You might get an entry too early on some of them, but when is there from a LVN? Exactly. You're always in early on an LVN. That's the problem, right? If you're going in on an LVN, you're trading areas, you're trading a level, right? And then you don't know if that level is going to break or not, and you don't have any basis of entering off of it. And then if you turn around and you try to make qualifications off of it, right? Now you're adding time, the amount of time, right? And when you add time to any form of analysis, you add lag. Also from AMT, auction market theory, yeah, you would think of the continuation lower since it broke the low. You can look for a retest of value of the day two. Easy in theory, but really hard to get a trend that already puked. Right. It is difficult to get a trend that already puked, right? But if you think about it though, in the context of what you're just talking about, that's kind of what I did here, okay? So when, and I'm not taking away anything that you just said here, right? What I'm saying is, let me share with you my thought process, correct my thought process on what you just gave me so I can better understand it. It's impacting, actually. I am currently at the depressing state. I totally relate to what you're saying. Alam, thank you so much first for being that open and honest. What you just did was you acknowledge, you noticed, right? You noticed your current state. You didn't try to suppress it. You didn't try to hide it. You noticed it, and you acknowledged it. You acknowledged it. Now you own it. It doesn't own you anymore. And you probably aren't in the place to really be able to allow that to settle into you right now. And that's okay. You don't need to be. Because I know when I was in my very depressed states, there was nothing anybody could say that could help me. Not even a little bit. And I'm not trying to say anything now that's going to help you either. What I'm trying to do is, if I was talking to my younger self for what I know now, this is what I would tell that individual. You acknowledged and you accepted your current state. That takes power. Don't ever forget the power that you currently have, regardless of what state you're in. And try that on and see if that helps. Try that on and see if you can use it. And if not, let me talk to my younger self again. See if I can come up with something else. It's impacting actually. We do. We get into depressed states. Life sucks. Life freaking sucks. But you know what? At the same time that life sucks, life is so amazing. So amazing. Because it always provides us an opportunity to get out of the suck. And it's not a mindset. It's not thinking positively. It's not trying to convince yourself that everything's good and I'm going to put these rosy red glasses on. No, sometimes we just have to admit that life freaking sucks, and it sucks. It sucks to suck. And sometimes I really suck, and sometimes life really sucks. And you know what? Sometimes we just need to be told and realize and just allow that to be okay. Not it's okay because of how we feel. It's okay that we're feeling what we're feeling. Redefine okay. Okay doesn't mean that you're okay, everything's good. No, it's okay not to be okay sometimes. And it's okay to admit that. Because that is where the power comes from. To separate from it. Not change it, not fix it, not heal it, not make it better, because that part of you is always going to be there and you can't do anything with it. But you don't have to align with it. You don't have to wear it like a suit, where you become its identity and it becomes your identity. We can take that suit off and put another one on of our choosing. But that takes action. And it's so difficult to take action when we're in that state of depression. Because that state of depression, that state of anxiety is screaming at us not to act. And so what would I suggest in that context? One thing. Just get up and go get yourself a glass of water. Come up with some intention of something that you can bring into the present moment right now. Something that's good for you. Now you're intentional. Now you align your action to it. You bring it into the present moment and you do it. And now you just fulfilled the intention. That fulfilled intention, in that moment, if you recognize it, brings that place of something that you can be grateful for, something that you can be grateful to yourself for doing. That, if you start stacking those intentional points, that's where we start to change our state. Not because we started thinking differently, not because we created a mindset, not because we created a grind set or any of the other stuff the world is telling us to do. It's because we did something for ourselves intentionally. And there's power in that. And now we're starting to take our power back slowly but surely. Don't try to plant a seed in an environment that it doesn't grow in, because it won't take. Plant a seed in your environment that you can grow right now. Any seed, it doesn't matter. And let that seed planting and its harvest adjust your environment enough where now you can plant a new, better seed and keep doing that. I'd gone in on the stream to note your opinion on my chart as well as Maddie. I will try it and we'll surely share the result as always. Thank you again. Yeah, no, Maddie, exactly. And so if we, and Alam, I'm not in any way, shape or form or fashion moving away from you and your situation, right? I have a bunch of individuals here that have their own things that are going on too. So please, if you feel like this is helping and you want to continue the conversation, please put another post in and I can go from there. But I'm going to get over to Maddie's stuff real quick, and what I was talking to Maddie about. So that's the way I look at these LVNs, right, Maddie? That's why I use volume to help guide me into these areas, right? So I'm not using, rejection and these other things. And so it's a matter of me being able to look at your chart and understand it the way you do when you look at it. And that means I can't come into it with my own judgment. I can't come into it with my own analysis. And when I'm reading your information, I don't feel like I'm understanding it the way that you would want me to. And so I'm going to need to digest this a little bit. I think it's great information. I really appreciate you sharing it with me. I think it's absolutely amazing. I need to take my Tony hat off and put my Maddie hat on and look at this through your eyes, not through my own. And it looks like we might get a close below here. I'm going to need to move my stop again. Well, no, I'm not even in the right place. Oh my God, that's hilarious. There we go. I'm about ready to get stopped out, so it doesn't really matter. So thank you for sharing, Maddie. Let me work on that. Just shorts, I'm with you on it too. I'm going to really take a look at it and digest that. Probably not today though. I'm too tired right now. My mind just is not working. So I will probably get some sleep tonight and take a look at it tomorrow. But thank you for sharing, Maddie. I truly appreciate you. Getting in one low volume nodes when price breaks structure makes a new low. Look for the pro. So my only question on this, right, is you could try getting in on low volume nodes. Yep. That's what I'm doing on when price breaks structure. But when price breaks structure, where's the low volume node? Alam, of course, anytime. That's what I'm here for. Join if you want. Join Discord. You can bring it up for me as a friend. DM me if you want to. We could talk a little bit further on it. I worked with another individual not too long ago, a couple days ago, on a couple things that they were dealing with, and from the feedback they gave me, it really helped. So, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. All right? Seriously, I'm here. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to struggle. I struggle for the majority of my life. And I can't tell you how freeing it is to be in the place that I am today. And it's you guys that keep me there, not me, you guys. Because I have to show up every day for you guys. And it's that natural motivation, not the fake motivation of, oh man, I got to do this. I got to go to the gym. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. No. It's that natural. It's the pull, right? Because I need to show up for you guys. And when I show up for you guys in meaningful ways, you guys impact my life in meaningful ways. How can I get your Discord? Just Shorts, are you still in here? Somebody do !Discord. I don't have the chat up. I'm not able to do it in YouTube. I can do it in Twitch, but I can't do it in YouTube. So !Discord. Exclamation mark, of course, is the shift one key on your keyboard. And I don't sell anything. I don't have any packages to anything. There's no charges. There's no fees anywhere in any of my work. So don't worry about any of that. It's not like, oh, I'm joining a Discord. No, it's like, oh my God, it's asking me for this in order to be able to join. No. Not happening. So just type this into chat. And then you should be able to get it. That will give you the link. There we go. And then in Discord, I'm Live the Return. You can find me on there. I don't know why I'm long. I don't understand this platform because I was, oh, you know what? I still had 2 there, didn't I? And now I understand. That's totally my mistake. I was about ready to blame. See how it works right there? The program, right? Immediately. Why am I long? There's got to be a problem with, well, no, because I didn't change my stop from 2 to 1. See what happens when you take personal responsibility? I'm not going to make that mistake again. I don't have to be disparaging to a program either that wasn't even its fault in the first place. Yeah, no, you're good. All right. Any other questions? Any comments? Concerns? Ideas? I love that. Yo, mate. I love that. I should have been European. You guys are cooler than us. It sucks. But, you know, you have to admit it. No, seriously, any other questions? Any other concerns? Anything that I can help anybody with before I get out of here? And I'm also looking at doing another stream too. It won't coincide with this one. Everything's going to stay the same here, but I am looking at doing another stream where I literally just get on there and I talk about the stuff that I was just talking about right now and open it up to individuals. I don't have any answers. I don't believe anybody needs any answers at all. I believe that what happens is we have doors that get locked inside of us and our own personal answers that we need are locked to us. I'm just so happen to be a fairly decent at helping individuals unlock their doors. Not because I have answers, not because I give anybody any answers or anything else along those lines. And being able to help individuals find their intention, walk into their intention. That's what I want to be doing. And that's what this is really all about, is demonstrating that I'm doing it myself. Right? Well, now I need another stream that I'm able to demonstrate my ability to help individuals find their own answers. Because nobody in this life needs answers. They don't need advice. You need somebody that's not going to judge you. You need somebody that allows your belief systems and really understands your belief systems, because from that place, individuals' guards start coming down, not just to their external world, but their internal. And when your guards start to fall down, what happens? Your doors open, not because you had to find a key, not because you had to unlock them. It's because your guard coming down. And why are our guards up? Because we're constantly judged. We're constantly ridiculed. We're constantly expecting ridicule. Because we're all really afraid of one thing. We're social beings and we're afraid of doing the wrong thing that can cause exile to our social well-being. And so we're constantly trying to hold ourselves to a standard. Well, what happens if we're in an environment where we really feel safe and we can drop that and just allow ourselves to be open to ourselves? And you get to that point and the doors automatically open and the information you needed is already there. So keep that in the back of your mind. I am looking at starting that. I don't know exactly what that looks like yet or how I'm going to do it, but I might just get on here and just start talking. I mean, who knows? I don't know. So if any of you have any ideas along those lines as well, let me know, because I would love to hear some of those ideas so I can just, start running with it. Maddie, we need to talk because I'm perplexed right now because I'm thinking that that's kind of what I'm doing, but it's what I haven't been demonstrating in the stream. And if I'm not demonstrating in the stream, that means I'm not doing what I think I'm doing, and that's a problem. We need to talk. The stream will be a great idea. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone is therapy enough. And Alam, exactly. And it's not, I've spent over $120,000 on trying to heal childhood trauma and all sorts of things from my past. I'm not a therapist. I never will be. I'm never going to carry myself as one by any stretch of the imagination. If an individual really needs to talk to somebody about those things, they do need professional help and advice with that. But sometimes we just need somebody to understand us, understand where we are right now. And when we get that, it's like a piece of us opens. And when that openness happens, the answers present themselves. So thank you, Alam. I appreciate that for that that openness. The encouragement. That's the word I was looking for. Encouragement. Dang it. See? English language is escaping me. And yeah, knowing that you're not alone, and then that brings in, it's like, it's like a light, right? And then everything just kind of just comes into the light that's aligned to that particular light. And then, yeah, we just kind of go from there. That's what I'm thinking, Alam. So I came up with that idea last night. I've been working on it a little bit today, just mulling around the ideas and stuff. This is coming down. Where did this come to? The high volume area. High volume area, rejection. Wait. I'm not in this, am I? Okay, good. High volume area, rejection right there, right? 801, 1200, 401, 651 for the sellers, right? Not sellers are less aggressive, but look at the buyers, 2100, 1500, 880 to 254. That's your buyers drying up, but couldn't make a higher high. Sellers get aggressive right down in this area. There's your reason to short from this high volume. And I wish I would have seen that in real time. I didn't. I was talking, but there it is. How did I see it? I saw the downward pressure of this bar, and I was like, what caused that? Sure enough, the high volume. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you all. Thank you so much for the great questions. Thank you so much for the openness, the honesty. Thank you for being you. Alam, thank you so much for your openness today, your kindness. I truly, truly appreciate you, and no, you are not alone. Everybody, this is the Human Performance Lab. This is where we come in and we practice our actions so we can align them stronger and better to our intention. Sorry, I took your mind off of charts. My bad. No, Alam, no, you didn't. Not at all. That was my choice. You didn't do anything. I chose to speak to you because that was more important than the charts. You are more important than the charts. I appreciate you. I appreciate your kindness and your words. I recognize your words for what they are. But you also need to recognize too, though, that you are more important than anything going on in these charts. You're welcome. You are welcome. On that note, everybody, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being you. I want to thank you for all the support and just everything you have shown to me in this channel in the last 2.5 weeks. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you. I want you all to know that I look forward to the next coming months to see how this all unfolds, and I couldn't imagine having a stronger and a better core group of individuals than you. Thank you for making me. Thank you for making my stream. Thank you for making my life better, because you're in it. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and know that you too are loved, because I love you. Enjoy.